California. For decades, it's been the land of motion. Of dreamers, builders, and restless ambition. A place that never stood still for long. But now, something has shifted. Across the state, from Fresno to San Francisco, from Long Beach to Redding, the same question echoes. Why has the housing market stopped moving? Homeowners are holding tight. Buyers are backing off. And the market, once the heartbeat of the California dream, has fallen eerily still. What happens when high interest rates, old tax laws, and a chronic shortage of homes collide with the costliest real estate in the nation? You get a housing market stuck in molasses. Welcome to California Housing. What's behind California's frozen housing market? Nationwide, the housing market has cooled since the pandemic frenzy. Prices are high, interest rates even higher. Buyers hesitate, sellers wait, a national stalemate. But in California, that cooling feels more like a freeze. In 2025, new listings in San Francisco dropped by 17% compared to the year before. San Diego and Riverside saw double-digit declines too. Half of the 10 U.S. metros with the steepest drop in listings are right here in California. For real estate agents like Amy Kong in the Bay Area, the math and the mood are unmistakable. The number of transactions has absolutely slowed down, she says. It's because of the higher interest rates and the affordability, which is just really, really low. Behind those statistics is a quiet but powerful shift. Californians aren't selling because they can't afford to buy again. To understand this frozen moment, we need to look back to the early pandemic years. In 2020, as the economy stumbled to a halt, the Federal Reserve stepped in and dropped interest rates to near zero. It worked. Buyers flooded the market. Millions refinanced. For a brief moment, homeownership felt almost attainable. But fast forward to 2025, and those ultra-low rates have become golden handcuffs. A typical mortgage taken out 5 years ago carries a rate below 4%. Today, the same loan would cost more than 6.5%. That difference, just a few percentage points, translates to hundreds, sometimes thousands, of dollars more each month. Nationwide, the average homeowner would pay $398 extra if they swapped to today's rate. In California, it's about $675. And in San Francisco? Nearly $915. That's the sound of the lock-in effect, not emotional, but mathematical. But interest rates aren't the only thing locking Californians in place. A law from another era still casts a long shadow. In 1978, voters passed Proposition 13, a property tax reform meant to protect homeowners from skyrocketing taxes. It tied property tax rates to the home's original purchase price and limited annual increases to just 2%. In the decades since, home values have soared, but many longtime owners are still paying taxes based on what their property was worth in the Reagan era. The result? Two families on the same block, living in similar houses, one pays half, maybe even a third, of what the other does. A 2025 analysis from the Lincoln Institute of Land Policy found that new buyers in cities like Los Angeles and San Diego pay more than twice what long-term owners pay in property taxes. When you add that to higher mortgage rates, it's easy to see why people stay put. Economist Daryl Fairweather puts it plainly. When people are doing the math, mortgage expense, property taxes, it's not worth it. And so, neighborhoods remain unchanged, not by choice, but by arithmetic. When homes don't move, neither do people. And that ripple touches every corner of the housing ecosystem. Would-be buyers, locked out of ownership, stay in rentals longer. That pushes demand and rent higher. Builders, seeing fewer buyers, hesitate to start new projects. Despite years of pro-housing legislation in Sacramento, construction remains flat. Economist Oscar Way from the California Association of Realtors calls it a holding pattern. He expected sales to rebound by now. Instead, the market feels suspended between recovery and recession. Even when the cranes are still, the consequences move outward to renters, workers, and local economies built around the churn of home sales. In California, housing isn't just shelter. It's the backbone of the state's wealth and the engine that drives everything from furniture sales to school funding. When that engine slows, the whole machine stutters. But by the fall of 2025, there were hints of motion. In September, statewide home sales ticked up 5% from August and more than 6% from the previous year. It's the strongest showing in 7 months. The median home price? $883,640, steady, and up 1.8% from the year before. It's not a boom. But it's something perhaps even rarer: balance. Jordan Levine, chief economist at Carr, called it modest improvement. Sales are climbing, prices are stabilizing, and inventory, the number of homes for sale, is finally growing again. At 3.6 months of supply, the market is still tight, but better than the drought years of 2021 and 2022. And homes are taking longer to sell, an average of 32 days statewide, up from 24 a year ago. A few extra days might not sound like much, but in California real estate, that's a small eternity: time to breathe, to think, to negotiate. After years of chaos, maybe a little stillness isn't such a bad thing. So what kind of market is California in now? For once, it's not clearly a buyer's or a seller's game. Buyers have more leverage than they did during the pandemic frenzy: they can negotiate, walk away, even wait. Sellers, on the other hand, still benefit from historically strong prices and limited competition. The statewide sales-to-list price ratio, how close homes sell to their asking price, is at 98.2%. That means the average home sells just a little below asking. In 2024, it was 100% flat. The shift is subtle, but it signals something larger: equilibrium. A market, after years of extremes, learning to stand still. Real estate agent Heather Ozer from Palm Springs sums it up. It's great to see home sales bounce back as mortgage rates hit their lowest point in nearly a year. It shows there's still demand, people still want to live here. Wanting to live here, that's the one constant California has never lost. Of course, no two regions tell the same story. California's housing market is a patchwork quilt stitched together by geography, industry, and income. In the Central Coast, sales are up nearly 12% year over year. Southern California, a steady 11%. Central Valley, 10%. And the Bay Area, up almost 10% as well. Prices, too, vary widely. The far north leads with a 2.9% increase. The Bay Area isn't far behind at 2.7%. Even Southern California saw modest gains of about 2%. Only the Central Valley saw a slight dip, just 0.2%. Drill down further, and the contrasts sharpen. Kings County saw a stunning 46% jump in sales. Calaveras County, up 42%. But Trinity County? Down 50%. San Benito, down 24%. California's housing market is less a single trend and more a living map, breathing and shifting, county by county. So where does it all go from here? According to forecasts from the California Association of Realtors, 2026 may mark a quiet rebound. Existing home sales are expected to rise by 2%, reaching about 274,000 units. The median home price edging past $905,000 would set a new record. But this isn't another gold rush. It's a slow climb, powered by falling interest rates and small gains in affordability. Mortgage rates, which averaged 6.6% in 2025, could drop to an even 6% by 2026. And the share of Californians able to afford a median-priced home might tick up from 17% to 18%. A small number, but a meaningful shift. Economist Jordan Levine describes it as a clearing of economic clouds. When people feel more secure about their jobs and the economy, they start to move again. After years of turbulence, California's housing story may finally be finding its rhythm. Still, no forecast is without friction. Inflation remains sticky, predicted to climb slightly to 3% in 2026. Insurance premiums are spiking, especially in wildfire zones. And new trade tensions could send construction costs swinging again. Even job growth, once California's safety net, is slowing. Unemployment may rise to 5.8% by 2026, up from 5.3% just 2 years prior. Each of these headwinds chips away at confidence. Each one makes the decision to move a little harder. So yes, the thaw has begun. But the ice beneath California's housing market is thick and slow to melt. For every chart and data point, there's a family living this reality. A couple in Riverside, sitting on a 3% mortgage, wondering if it's worth losing their tax break just to find a bigger yard. A young teacher in Oakland, still renting because every open house turns into a bidding war. An empty nester in Fresno, ready to downsize, but stuck, because property taxes on a new condo would double. Each of them part of a state that's quietly standing still. It's easy to forget, a frozen housing market isn't just an economic story, it's a human one. When people can't move, opportunities stall. New jobs go unfilled. Schools lose families. And communities lose the constant churn that gives them life. In a place built on the promise of reinvention, California's greatest challenge might just be learning how to move again. For generations, Californians chased possibility, following the sun, the jobs, the dream. Now, for the first time, staying put has become the rational choice. Yet even in stillness, there's resilience. In quiet streets and locked doors, Californians are adapting, waiting for the next opening, the next chance to move forward. Because beneath the numbers, beneath the policy and politics, one truth remains. People still believe in this place. And when the time is right, they'll move again.